A lot of them.
I do not enjoy ticks, so I stay away from that. So that's a question I've not been asked. So
You can tell what I'm thinking of on today.
yeah, no. So as they're working to put up the slides, I'm going to ask those of you who have joined us, if you woke up tomorrow with superhero powers, what would you do to solve your housing crisis? So when we get that slide up, we'll have that available to you. But be thinking about that. What would you do if you had superhero powers tomorrow to solve your housing challenges? Or what would be the first housing challenge you would solve? You can enter that in the chat box, but I would really love to hear your voice.
I'd say property taxes.
Property taxes, would you
I
eliminate
don't know
them?
how
What
to
would you do?
solve it. I'm just saying solve that challenge would be good. So then everyone would love me too.
I bet, yeah. 'Tis the month where we pay our semi-annual real estate taxes.
Yeah.
I have that note on my calendar at home. So,
I would go with affordable building for comparative to what you make, what you earn.
okay, good thoughts. What else is out there? What would you do if you had superhero powers to solve the housing challenges? And I see people are starting to join us, so welcome to all of you. We will be getting started shortly. I know it's been a busy week for a lot of people. Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts about superhero powers in
Lord, I
addressing the
think
housing?
affordable materials would make a huge difference too.
Okay,
Yeah,
affordable materials.
yeah.
I like that. Good. I can see more of you joining us, so welcome. I just made an adjustment. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. For those of you who are just joining us, Sherry told me that this is our 90th webinar in our Learning Network series. So who would have thought we would be at 90? But here we are, and thanks for making it a priority in your day today. So we will just start here in another minute or two. See some familiar names and faces. Okay. Thanks, Sue. We appreciate that. So, so last chance, tell us what you would do with your new superhero power starting tomorrow in addressing and solving the housing challenges that we all face.
This is Joni from Western Nebraska, and
Hi,
we have
Joni.
just recently really propelled our faith in having some additional housing in our little town of a little over 800 people. And we're trying to see about how we can change farmland into residential and get it zoned the correct way and all of the pieces, because we have a person that's willing to share some of the land he has, and we're very excited. So our superpowers are our whole group. We're feeling empowered and excited.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. And Dina has also shared safe and affordable housing for all would be the housing challenge she would solve. So thanks for sharing that. And Sue also mentioned everyone who wants a home gets a home. So yeah, exciting. Thanks for sharing, everybody. So I think we are at 2:02. So let's get started with our April edition of the HomeNE Learning Network. So welcome and thank you. This is our April of 2026 edition of HomeNE. If you weren't here a few minutes ago, Sherry informed me today that this is our 90th webinar. And so thank you to all of you who've made that possible. So before we get to rolling, I'd just like to introduce myself. We continue to see new people each and every month. I'm Lori Ferguson with South Central Economic Development District in Holdridge, and we serve as the lead agent for this HomeNE statewide learning network that's designed for all people from all across Nebraska. And I spent some time yesterday and Tuesday in South Dakota, and even people up there are familiar with our learning network and have participated. So we greatly appreciate that. We'd like to know from you by entering in the chat box your response to the two questions that are on your screen. What interests you about today's topic? And what do you hope to know more about at the end of today's webinar? Occasionally we do repeat or go back and revisit some webinars, and that is the case today. So I'll be sharing just a little bit more about that with you here shortly. But the HomeNE program is a learning network that is geared towards housing opportunities and solutions in rural communities. We provide a face-to-face as well as online opportunities to foster interaction as well as engagement and skill building for local leaders, but also the local conveners. Not everybody has a passion around housing, but for those who do, this is a program geared towards you. And we continue to grow. I mentioned that briefly, but about 3 months ago, we had at least 20 new people join us. And so there's always opportunity to continue to expand and grow. And we thank you for that. So if you're new today, or if you're one of those people who've been with us for 80 plus, now 90 webinars, thank you for making this a priority. You could be choosing many different things, but today for this hour, you're choosing to join us. So thank you for that. So our guest is Rex Adams today. He wears many hats. I'm going to have him share a little bit about all of those hats. This is one of those revisits that I love to do. We featured Blue Springs, Nebraska, and the nonprofit organization of One Property at a Time back in March of 2023. And actually, Blue Springs was brought to our attention by one of you. And so we wanted to take a look back at Blue Springs, and Rex has graciously agreed to join us today to tell us what the journey has been for them the past 3+ years. So Rex, welcome. I just want to say that, and thank you for agreeing to present today. We appreciate your willingness. So take a few minutes, if you would, to just introduce yourself. Tell us about some of the hats that you wear there in Blue Springs, where Blue Springs is located, and then we'll get started, okay?
Okay. Well, I've lived in the Blue Springs area within 20 minutes of it my whole life. Last 47, I've been in the same house. So I'm on the county board of supervisors. I have been 37 years ago. I was a councilman in Blue Springs, a mayor. 683 was a population then. We are down to 230 or something like that now. So I did the term on the council, the mayor. I had 3 terms as the county board, 4 years the chairman of the county board, and I went off for a while. And I chose to get back on. I wasn't happy with the direction and respect of the end of the county that I represent. So I ran for the county board again. I got back on. So this will be my fourth term on the county board. But I'm also chairman of the One Property at a Time. It's a 501c3 nonprofit in Blue Springs. And I mow a lot. And we'll add that because that's a hat that I can't get off. And so One Property at a Time started. Dan Disney come to my house in 2017 and said that there is a guy chasing a lady down the road with a knife, and she ran to him. He says, we got to change the direction of our community. So our community is not unique to Nebraska, probably not unique to any part of the Midwest. Rural decline has come into place, loss of jobs, loss of brain drain, loss of youth. So four of us got together and we decided we were going to try to change the direction of our community one property at a time. And as luck would have it, the guy with the knife's place came up and four of us bought the house. We took it down. We burned it. Burning is cheaper than taking the house completely down. Since then, between the city and one property at a time, we have taken down 44 houses in Blue Springs. That's a lot of homes. That's a lot of green space. The ones that we take down that our group buys, we buy them out from people. We haven't forced anyone out of a home. We will clean up the lot. We don't normally burn those down. We will clean out the lot. We try to preserve the trees. And if somebody wants to build, we give them the lot. This will go under the success category. We have 6 new houses right now. We have one business. The very first house we took down, a business, Midwest Bargain Warehouse, chose to go into there off the free lot. It was a success. We have 3 new builds taking place right now. So we have 6 new ones, 3 new builds. We have commitments on one other, maybe 2. We took down somewhere between 260,000 to 310,000 of valuation, which, the naysayers in a small community are everywhere. Everyone wants to see something fail. No one wants to see it succeed. We are at about 1.6 million in new growth right now, not counting the new builds. And when people say that must have been quite a fight with the community, our fight was never with the community. Our fight was with the city. Every ordinance you need to change your community, every statute you need is in your city ordinances. It's the enforcement of it. No one wants to make waves, no matter if they recognize there's a problem. No one wants to, old Bill's a good guy, but man, he's got a poor place. There's no shame in being poor. It's shame in how you react from it. We have worked on 150 properties in the community. Not that we've taken down. We have bought paint. We have gone in and cleaned up. We have paid people to come in. We paid somebody $300 to come in with a backhoe and clean up their yard. Today, their yard's worth about $100 again because we're going to have to clean it up again. So we as a community, since I was a kid, the whole area, Wymore, Blue Springs is next door neighbors, side by side. You don't know when you leave one to go into the other. We have grown complacent with decline. We've looked at it, we've accepted it, but we decided we're no longer going to accept the direction we were going. We had to change it. It hasn't been an easy change. It is going to the council meetings. It is making the council do things they're uncomfortable with. Has there been a lot of negative feedback to the council? Very limited, very limited. It is an overwhelming success to get them to do it. Yet today, they're still reluctant on pursuing some of the ordinances that are in place. So for anyone taking notes on, Google the Syracuse ordinance. Many communities are chasing that now. That is an ordinance you need to look at. That is an ordinance that gives you the opportunity to maybe charge on some things, because we all know you can lien the property. It does no good until they sell it. And if the property has no value, it does no good to lien it. So we have been very fortunate We have a lot of benevolent people in our community that throw money to us. We're fortunate we have two local organizations, the organization grant funding that are designed for our area. They have funded these. They have paid, the Thomas Foundation has paid for the majority of the houses coming down. We've paid for some of them, but the Thomas Foundation, we fill out the forms, they pay for. They will not buy a house, they will not buy the property, but they will take the cleanup of it. Because if you go to dismantle a two-story home, some of those can be up to $40,000. Most of them are between 7 and 15. The Morris Foundation is where we're starting to get money to put back into our community. We're just not about tearing down houses. We're about rebuilding a community because we did not go into the decline we were overnight. It took a couple generations, to be honest. We lost the jobs. When the jobs leave, everything starts to follow that. People start moving away. My drive has been none of my kids want to live here. None of them. None of my children live in the area. We counted at one point, there's like 7 homes in Blue Springs out of the 230 some people that have kids. We need to change that. We need to change it by economic development. We need to build our tax base back up. A disappointment we had an opportunity for economic development of a small business that was coming in. It got to the point I needed to send them elsewhere for help. They were told that they would receive help if they went somewhere else, but they would not if they stayed in our small community. Well, the county lost that business even. They did not want to go to Beatrice. They chose to go to Dunbar. So we lost that tax base. We lost those 15 to 17 jobs. We lost the future opportunities that those could have presented. And so in a nutshell, that's kind of one property at a time. Do you want me on the one property at a time? We're not a big group. We have 15 members. And I call it the 70s Club. We got a group of people that are in their 70s. They're the ones that have painted the bridge. They are the ones that go and do some of the cleanups. They're very active. They're very committed. Last year, the Nebraska Cattlemen's Ball was held in Blue Springs, 6 miles east of town. And if it wasn't for Terry Acton, who's a large farmer, cattle producer, that hosted it, they wanted that to be called Beatrice under Terry's home address, which is just about 7 miles north of town. And he said, no, my hometown has changed so much. I want it called Blue Springs, held in Blue Springs, Nebraska. Well, they came through Blue Springs, the 4,000 people every other 2 days of it coming through town. We put lights on the Blue River Bridge, blue lights on the Blue Springs River Bridge of the Blue River. We put banners up. We embraced it. We welcomed people. That has been acknowledged, that the effort that we put into welcoming people to our community, because we need the community. The 6 homes that have been sold are not local Wymore Blue Springs people. These are people from the outside that have recognized an opportunity of value. They're getting the land free. Is the land worth a lot down here? Not at the moment, no. But they like the direction it's going. They like the feel of the community. We're a Mayberry. I bet most of the people listening on here are from Mayberry. We all have a small community we're proud of. We can do small community things, but stupid isn't tolerated. So where else do you want me to go on that?
Well, let's look at the next slide that we have prepared. You had kind of shared this in your presentation 3 years ago. You talked about the guy running down the road chasing a gal, but you were really getting a lot of calls in general to the county sheriff, and he was a frequent member of your community. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
The sheriff's still a frequent member of our community because they have a community coffee every Friday and they have donuts. And I say that tongue in cheek. get a chuckle out of it. He still comes down. Okay, so our community, we've heard every negative connotation there could be to our community, the meth heads, the this. Our community is no different than everywhere else. We had a lot of calls for service. We had a lot of bad people. Probably no more than anywhere else, but we had some bad people. We had some high profile bad people that were continuously in the paper, and the paper always put Blue Springs man, Wymore man, that's your headline. So there's a negative connotation that went with that. To get rid of the rats, you got to get rid of the rat nest. And we have seen every living condition short of good on these houses that have come down. Some of them have been totally unlivable, but the ones that you call unlivable, people will live in. They do not need services. They do not need water. They do not need electricity. They will still live in it. And it's reflected in the sheriff's report. It's reflected in the sheriff's comments of today that their calls to service in Blue Springs, they come now, but it's a dog complaint. It's a kid racing through town on his motorcycle. It's no longer the stuff that backup's coming with them. So we have changed as a community tremendously. And unless you have a history of our community, it's hard to understand where we were just a mere, well, it'll be almost 10 years ago here, next year. So we have changed tremendously.
Okay. The next slide will show us some of those changes, if we can advance to that. And tell us about this. I stole some of these off of the One Property at a Time Facebook page, and Rex provided some of them to us as well. But I was just really excited to see this because your topic title is We Turned the Corner, and I think these pictures are indicative of that. Just would you talk us through some of the changes that are taking place and maybe even some of these properties themselves?
I will. The top picture on the left, that was a gentleman. We had a fundraiser, and we live off fundraisers. We called it Blues, Brats, and Beer in Blue Springs. We had it up around the tennis court. We did cornhole. We did different things. We had blues bands. It was just a fundraiser. Sheriff sat there. It was quiet. It was a good group. This guy was from Loveland, Colorado, retired as some sort of electrical grid engineer out in Fort Collins, in charge of the grid from wherever it went to. He has family in the area, and he says, I enjoyed it so much. Talk to me tomorrow. I want to make a commitment. So that guy moved in from Loveland, Colorado. The house to the right being moved in, Wymore Schools is getting a new gymnasium. They tried to find somebody to relocate that, to move it, and they asked me to assist them. And Dr. Jace Bowie in Beatrice, he's a chiropractor. He grew up, his dad's from our area. And I asked him about the opportunity, and he's embraced it. It's going to be a beautiful home when it's done. I mean, it is huge garage addition. It's going to be 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, basement under it on one of our beautiful lots. Going to be a beautiful home. It'll be 300,000. And, Wymore chided me a little bit about losing the house from Wymore. And I thanked them for their loss of 100,000 of taxable base to the 300 that Blue Springs gained. And I say that in tongue in cheek, but that's a lesson we all should. There's opportunities. 10 years ago, we had no one that wanted to flip a house in Blue Springs, that wanted to invest in Blue Springs. We have people now that are calling me wanting to know if there's any houses to flip in Blue Springs. We have very limited that we can flip. We have a couple in progress right now. So the opportunities, you've got to clean up your area before the opportunities will present themselves. I believe that wholeheartedly. That is the approach we took. The middle picture is Phil and Tana Paget. They are building, it's the picture to the right is what their slab is. They're building a barnuminium on it where the camper is. That was supposed to be done in November. It almost looks like Phil's building it himself now. His contractors never showed up. They've embraced the lifestyle of Blue Springs. And the lower left is the house that was moved in from Wymore. That is what the garage addition looks like there, and the picture of it. The picture to the right is a barnuminium. And they grew up in Wymore. They have chosen to come back. So that's a barnuminium they're living in. And the opportunities of a small town, people embrace a small town. Uh, Valuations in a small town, we're supposed to be equalized, but they're still lower than the other places because the perceived we don't have the value that somewhere else does. And the the three new the three new builds, one is going to be barnuminium. I guess we got four new builds, just don't have the one permit. Another one's a young man that grew up here, lived in Beatrice. He's going to build a home. He's been doing landscaping. It's not there yet. Another one is right west of the church. They're getting ready to break ground on it. That gentleman already built one, and the new high school superintendent moved into it. We're excited about that. Uh, I'm drawing brain drain on the other one at the moment. But when I talk about some of the disappointments of the housing, discriminatory lending is real. I have shown properties to a lot of people over the last 10 years. They're all interested until they come to find out. I built this guy, I've had two of them now tell me I build in Hallam, I build in Hickman, I build in Utan, I build in Milford. I get 100% financing when I build these. I want to come to Blue Springs. I'm only going to get 60% financing. They don't believe the market's there. They don't believe people will move there. So the people that are supposed to build and grow your community over the time probably have stymied your community at the same time. And if they're not willing to take a chance on a community they have a bank in, what does that say to their belief of your community? So we have a new tool right now. It's called MicroTIF. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it yet. TIF application is a 6 to 10 page application. MicroTIF is a one-page application. You fill it out, you present it to the city sends it to the assessor sets the value. I'm going to use the numbers that the TIF attorney, Klein Williams, now Andrew Willis is the attorney from Lincoln, told us at the council meeting. You got a $220,000 house. Your lot is $2,000. You just put $218,000 into that new home. So you have a TIFable amount of $218,000. Your taxes based off our rate would be $3,700 a year. You pay the county, the state turns around, reimburses you the $3,700. Over the 15-year life of that TIF contract, you will get $58,000 back for your home. MicroTIF is designed for homes, single builds. So he said the real caveat, the real positive of this is, doesn't matter if you own your home 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, you choose to sell your TIF contract, or you can keep the contract and sell the home and receive passive income of $58,000 over 15 years. I am meeting with developers, builders right now that are looking at utilizing that as a passive income. I think it's going to be game changing. So now well, where do you want me to go yet? I know I rattle fast and I rattle a lot. So if there's
No,
something
that's
someone wants clarified, they need to slow me down a little bit.
yeah, no, perfect timing. Great information. Carrie's asking, how do you draw people to Blue Springs, and do you have amenities that draw them there?
Papa B's restaurant in Blue Springs was the Keno, Papa B's Keno. We have very little that would draw people except the quality of life. Papa B's was a restaurant that was dying, that was probably going to stay dead until we started to change our community. Steve Boardman invested money in it, and he told me this would not have happened if we had not changed the direction we were going. Papa B's, based off the information that Caleb Fugioni, the Gage Development Coalition Director, gave us, had 48,000 visitors last year. people are seeing Blue Springs. We are 1 hour away from Lincoln. There's a lot. I worked on the railroad, recently retired, but I drove to Lincoln to the railroad. There are no jobs here. Everyone is driving, but I work with all those people in Lincoln. They're all wanting to get out of the city. They're all wanting some of the memory of what they grew up with. Of some people say it's eerie when I say, you come down here, there's always somebody watching your child. Well, that's eerie. No, it's not. It's comforting to know that somebody saw your kid somewhere. And if that kid's doing something boneheaded, you're probably going to hear about it. So, will we have issues? Do we have issues? Yes, but we know who they are. So, how do we get them off there? I give them a tour. I show them the good. I show them the bad. I show them our schools. I show them the opportunities of what life could be. And very few people, the 6 people of the new homes right now are older. And if people want to complain, which they're going to want to complain, well, gee, these are all old people. We're not getting families. No, but my generation dies at some point and somebody will replace us. So you've got to have the infrastructure in place to ever prepare for the future. And we have not had the infrastructure in place. So there's also another new program with SEND, Southeast Nebraska Economic Development District. You guys probably have something very comparable out there, don't you? And it's called microlift. So now, if you can find a house that is still structurally sound, some sort of government program will come in, pick that house up, put it on a new basement, and refurbish the house and sell it on the market for, whatever it may be, 125. How much they got to put in at 200. They don't want to go over the 200 mark. But the ones I've shown them so far are too far gone. So that's something we're going to try to work in. Did I answer the question or did I dance around it?
I think you're good. So, Dina asks a question. If you don't mind, I'll just, as questions are put in the chat box, we'll ask you some of those.
Yep.
So, okay. So Dina asked about thoughts. Dina, help me out here. I've all of a sudden lost your email. Here we are,
That's
your
okay.
question. Any updates or thoughts on working with downtown properties? Is that
Well,
correct, Dina? Okay.
Blue Springs downtown is done gone. I mean, we have a post office. Midwest Bargain Warehouse is there now. They're empty lots. Our group doesn't, we own staggered around, but we would love to create some sort of economic opportunity. And I've started to reach out to successful people from the communities of the past. If anyone's going to invest in our community, it's going to have to be somebody that has a belief, a love, a passion, and a past of what we were to ever really invest true dollars in our community. I've started to ask if there's people that would be willing to invest. Well, I've had people talk of a grocery store. Wymore has a grocery store, but it has a shelf life. When I say that, you can see by the building, it's only time. And how do you get them off? We lost an opportunity when we lost the dog food plant. The gentleman has also bought another building. He was going to make a bourbon bar. That's done. So a lot of times economic development is trying to turn people to maybe where they don't want to go. And I sat on Gage County Economic Development. I'm in the change of it. And maybe over time, we have contributed to the decline of these communities because we no longer associate that one industry keeps your EMS services going, keeps your fire open, keeps your restaurant open. We have lost that. There are very few jobs. Our largest employer in the Wymore Blue Springs area is their school, which is probably that way in a lot of areas. The elevator, Wymore Fertilizer, is probably next. Otherwise, you can't hardly find a business that has more than 2 people if you have a business. Wymore's downtown consists of a grocery store, the pharmacy, which is moving to the highway, a bank, and a couple hair salons. The hardware store is out on the highway by Blue Springs now. So I would love to see a revitalization, but I don't know how you can do it on the funding that we have, where the institutions won't finance you 100% to live in a community. They're probably not going to finance you to build a business in the community either. A little too black and white. It's a black and white world.
Our chat box is active here, Rex. So if you don't mind,
No, keep
we've
them
got a
coming.
couple more slides, but I'm going to save those till a little bit later if you don't mind. So, Joni, I just need a clarification on your first question. Are you asking about micro tift or home lift?
The home lift. I'm sorry. I think I put
Okay,
a different thing in there.
that's okay.
Who
So
that
yes,
program's through.
yeah,
Same.
home lift is what Rex was talking about, Southeast Nebraska Development District.
Okay.
That's a program they have developed, and they're moving older homes out of the country into communities and rehabbing them. So, and I think Sharon clarified that for us as well. And then Joni also wanted to know about the burn permits. Rex, was it difficult to get those because they're being told they can't get those in her
There-
community? And where are you from again, Joni?
Hemmingford.
Okay.
Well, out in that country, you're probably sensitive right now, and I understand that. Okay, we've had challenges getting them at certain times to the fire department, but they use them as training exercises. You still have to go through your asbestos inspection. You still got to get the state fire marshal to sign off on them. After they're burned down, they got to set, I think, 45 days before you can remove the ash. But a training exercise for the fire department, that's a live practice. But the negative is some of these are so dilapidated, there's very little training except on how to watch it. So certain times a year, there's a house right now in Blue Springs that they are waiting on a permit to get. They won't get it right now till it rains some more. So yes, that can be a real concern.
Okay.
I
Doable,
want to
but just
touch I want
maybe.
to touch on that though. I forgot something earlier. On some of these houses that we've taken down, benevolent farmers, Brent Schlakes, the Dustin Wagners, and every community has them. Every large farmer has an excavator anymore. Brent Schlake's excavator has taken down a ton of our houses. And the city of Blue Springs will have their man run Brent's excavator, and we will take them down without that cost of Brent or somebody coming in with an excavator is made very affordable taking houses down. We have worked with the city of Beatrice somewhat on the landfill rates. So we've got a reduced rate on the landfill. But without the benevolent nature of those guys, and Jared Epp, I forgot Jared Epp. Jared Epp has taken some down for us too. So without the benevolent nature of those guys, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. But your communities all have somebody with an excavator. They all grew up in the community. They all have kids that go to this community. They would probably assist you if you asked.
Good. It sounds like it takes a village or an entire community sometimes to accomplish some of this.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned that maybe your group is getting a little older. And so Dina asks, what's the plan for the next generation of one property at a time? And maybe it's not people, maybe it's activities. But talk about the future of one property at a time.
We have, that's the concern we all have. Because when I talk to the 70s club, there's more of them almost than the younger. I'm almost one of the younger ones. We have Derek Costel's a young man in our community. Derek is our youngest. Derek is probably 40 now. Until we don't have young families in our community. And the ones that do are still reluctant to, we can be controversial in some people's eyes that you made us clean up. You have made, you know what I mean? Some people do not want to face any of the adverse of anything. We have transitioned. We're not, like I said, we're not just about tearing down houses. We have tried to do a water park, not a water park, a splash pad. We need to work with the city. We've tried to work with the city on the tennis courts. not tennis courts anymore, making them into a pickleball. We have bought benches for the city parks. We have bought benches to set along the street. We have worked with them on signage. Uh, we are trying to improve our community, whether it's one property at a time or one street at a time. If we don't fight to change our community, there's not going to be anyone else that'll do it for us. That's clear. So as far as the next generation, we have concerns about that. That's what's put these communities in it. The kids leave and they don't come back. You need those kids to save your schools. Uh, Wymore is a C1 when I went to school. We're D2 now, and we're at 8-man football. So without the next generation staying and believing, your schools come into play on this. They don't like to hear it when I talk about the Zillow rating of our schools. I have shown our properties to, I bet over the 10 years, probably close to 100 people, give them a tour and that. Then they tell me, well, the Zillow ratings say your schools are ranked really poor. Well, that's what the Zillow rating says. The school says that's not important, but to these people coming in, it is important. To have a successful community, a lot of people correlate that to your schools. So the stronger your school is, I think the stronger your community will be, the stronger the opportunities will to embrace success.
Right.
I can dance. I can dance all over the board. I'm sorry.
You're fine. We continue to have a couple questions now. Just quickly, I think you mentioned Wymore was building a new gymnasium. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so that answers Joni's question. Dina had a follow-up here for the controlled burns. Do you have standardized guidelines? Does the house have to have windows and doors?
No. I think they want them if they're in there. They don't want them removed though. And yes, because some of them have come down that do not have windows and doors. We haven't burned all that many of them really. We've demoed. The ones we burn are primarily the ones that we don't end up owning, because if we end up owning them, we take the old foundation and out and everything for the next person, so we can say this is ready to build. The trees, we try to save them, but it is so expensive to do. If you don't end up with the land, we will help them remove the problem property. And a lot of times we've got to go the cheapest route because we don't always have a lot of money. And where we rely upon the benevolent nature of people that lived here in the past, some of them don't live here. They just like what we're doing. So they will throw money to our group. So fire is the cheapest, but it may not be the best, if that answers that.
Yeah. Has the Nebraska Community Foundation played a role in any of your efforts?
They have not.
Okay.
Rex, I was thinking
Dina.
more the Wymore Blue Springs Area Fund.
We really don't apply for money from them. We applied for, or Dean Cole did. He's one of our 70s clubs. He's the park, the tree guy, the trail guy. He applied for trash cans at the city parks, the trailhead. They're beautiful trash cans. Blue Springs, Wymore Area Fund gave money to Blue Springs for bathrooms. So I don't think our group, when I say our group, the one property at a time, I don't think we've applied except for that one time. And we applied for picnic tables one time through the Gage Foundation on the Big Give. I mean, that's through the Big Give. We bought picnic tables there, and Wymore Area Fund put in for the Blue Springs bathrooms. So they raised money for the bathrooms in Blue Springs. Could our group go into Wymore? Yeah, our 501c3 umbrella embraces Wymore, Barnston, everywhere. I don't have the energy to run the football in two communities. I don't have the energy to fight another city hall. We are willing to help any community, but somebody's got to run the football. Somebody's got to do it. I'm just past the point of I don't think I can enter the fray again because I know the fight is with the city to begin with. Bottom line it is because every tool is there and you need to make them do things they're uncomfortable doing. But that is the only way you're going to change your community. Change is not necessarily comfort. Change is going into the unknown on making things possible. And Blue Springs works with us anymore, and we appreciate that.
Okay. Um, Jeff wants to know, is there any group, housing, economic development, or government that goes into the school to share with the high school students about the opportunities of living in Blue Springs?
Not that I am aware of. I mean, for one, the opportunities, there's no housing. And for the young, there's probably no affordable housing. It don't take long to see the Wymore Blue Springs local Facebook page. People are looking for rentals every day. They're not here anymore. Have we contributed to that problem? If so, I'm very grateful we have. They may not like it, but we've eliminated some of that low end, the constant that you see in the paper that take state vacations that we pay for. Uh, Mary L is one of our 70 club members. She owns Cottonwood Beach, just right north of Blue Springs. Part of it's in town, part of it's out. It's a sand pit with houses around it. Mary is a past administrator of Lincoln Public Schools, but she grew up down here. Her mom was here. She's been going to Cottonwood Beach her whole life. She is part of our group, a very active member of our group. She wants to involve the school more with our new superintendent. He's expressed an opportunity that excites him to work with our group. And it's like anything, sometimes I don't have the time or the drive to chase the school side, but Mary does. And we met not long ago with University of Nebraska, UNL Extension. What do they call it? The Rural Recovery People and Economic Gauge Development Coalition. Caleb Figioni invited the city of Village of Barnston, city of Wymore, city of Blue Springs. Barnston's mayor showed up. Wymore's mayor did not show up. Blue Springs mayor did not show up. Councilman from Wymore showed up. Councilman from Blue Springs showed up. We talked about the economic opportunities. The reason I invited those communities, that is the tax base that funds Wymore Public Schools, Wymore Southern. It's those communities. How do you change something if sometimes you can only make people change, or the door is there to help them, but they've got to show up. They've got to express interest. They got to say, I can be the drive and push. Our group can be the drive and the push. But you've got to say, we want it, and sometimes that doesn't happen. There again, that's a long-winded answer for whatever you wanted.
You can plant the seeds, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you had mentioned you'd cleared 44 properties through demo or other means. Carrie wanted to know how many lots have you cleaned up and resold or donated to someone to build on?
Well, lots like the house from Loveland, Colorado, that's sitting on 5 lots. We let him have all 5. If he's going to put a house like that in there, why would we say we're not going to let you have the other ones? And in fairness, Tom said, here's $5,000 for your group. Okay, thank you. I'm not mowing those. Dan Disney, Dave Dvorak, Bill Gilmore, we mow a lot. So right now, when I say the 6 homes, those are locations. Those would be multiple lots on most of those. The 3 new builds, I didn't touch on those new builds. Those people did not take us up on free lots. Have we turned the corner? They bought their locations that they wanted. They didn't take our free lots. One paid $30,000 for their location that they chose. We have turned the corner on that. We are sitting at 5 locations yet in Blue Springs of lots. I think it's 11 lots maybe. And with the commitment from the ones that That will put us down to maybe not a lot of locations left. And then we have 6 lots in Wymore. The Wymore lots will be available after Blue Springs are used up. It's just black and white. That's how it's going to be. And so I'm trying to think how many lots we had at one time. So the 6 new homes, those were on our locations. The other ones have bought them. And the one in the center there, he bought his lot. The one in the Barnuminium bought their lot. So there again, when I say we've turned the corner, I believe we've turned the corner, or they would not be buying lots and paying $30,000 in Blue Springs. Because a lot of people would ask that 30,000, what is there, 4 acres with that, 5 acres with that? So hope that answered the question.
Yeah. Does the school have any sort of an industrial arts or construction technology program that you could build upon, or?
We have asked about that again because they did when I was in school. The kids went out and built a garage or whatever. They always built something. That program has not been there. I think in light of the shortage of trade people, it would be a great opportunity. I think the school is revisiting it. But as of right now, they do not have any program like that. There have
Okay.
been some that have talked about doing an internship under our group, trying to raise money to send somebody to Milford to be an electrician, to be a plumber, whatever it may be, a craft that we need. When I was a kid, there was carpenters everywhere in this town. These trade people are coming in from somewhere else now to build these houses.
Okay. And there's a trailhead for the bike trail from Lincoln to Marysville, Kansas. Do you want to touch on that briefly? That's a question from Dina.
Okay, Chief Standing Bear Trail is just about a little strong half mile east of Blue Springs River Bridge. Our group maintains from the blacktop of that down to the Liberty Barnston blacktop, 2.5 miles or so. We maintain that area. The trailhead has a strong appeal. I try to show everybody that. But I'm glad that was brought up because whoever toured came down during the Cattlemen's Ball, Cattlemen's Ball last year, saw the changes in Blue Springs. We have an application in a federal project on the Blue Springs River Bridge. Somebody at another level than us suggested that we put a pedestrian walkway on that bridge due to the trail, the changing of our community. So we tried to incorporate the trailhead into it. Does it get used a lot? Like any trailhead, it's used quite a bit the first mile, one way or the other. Do you see people on it regular? You probably do. We're just not there always. So it's a beautiful trailhead that goes through some beautiful country.
Okay, good. Well, we've had a lot of questions, but we do have another slide to share. And then if you have questions that come to mind as we look at this next slide and hear from Rex about the importance of this event, feel free to put those in the chat box and we'll come back to them. So Rex, you want to kind of make this known to everybody?
We're excited about this. Would this happen 10 years ago? No, it would not have. I mean, they would not even considered it. So Senator Ricketts is going to do a town hall in Blue Springs, population 231 or whatever it may be. This is huge to our group. Would have it happened if we had not changed, if we had not gone a different direction? No. So for us, this is a very big event. Firemen are going to do a brisket dinner after the 12 o'clock, a fundraiser for their building, which our group applies for their grants for the Firemen's Memorial Building. We've got them a roof. We've got them. There will be new blue LPS siding with a brick or a stone exterior, new heating and air. Next one's going to be we're applying for the flooring. So extremely excited that Senator Ricketts has a faith in our community to come do a town hall where, they like to get a bigger audience. I hope they get a great audience here. And I hope people show that there is value to come into these small communities. I'm excited about it.
As you should be in your community and in the future of Blue Springs. So what other questions are coming to mind for Rex as we start to look, or what's a comment you want to share? What's a takeaway you have? Something you're going to take back to your community or your leaders? What do you want to share at this point?
I will touch on something when you asked me earlier today, the disappointments. Disappointments in life, we've all been there. The city over time was some disappointments. Lost opportunities, economic development have been a disappointment. The financials world has been a disappointment, but can we overcome them? We're showing we can. So our community is no different than every community listening here. It takes committed people that don't take the word no to heart, because we have heard no, we've heard, stealing one home at a time. I've heard every negative connotation there can be. But, we're proud of what we've done and changed, and every community here can do the same thing. So it just, it takes time, and it takes the first couple rough ones to open the door that there is opportunity out there.
Okay. Is that your final word that you'd like to leave us with? Or
It
as I
can be.
mentioned during our practice session, I give you the chance to leave us with one final thought.
Well, I
Is
thank
that
you for letting us share our story, because like I tell people, it's not Rex Adams, it's a group, it's a city, it's the area farmers, the Brents, the Jareds, the Dustin Wagners. It's those people that have come together. Do they live in the community? The Terry Acton that made Nebraska cattlemen's. There's people that deserve the credit because they believe in what we are doing here affects their life also. So there is there is more to this story than even the 15 people that I talk about. It's everyone that has thrown dollars to us, because the dollars don't come easy. And when people give you their dollars, it's a belief they believe in what you're doing. And most of them want to see a community change. They want to see a community they can be proud of. They want to see a community that they know their dollars help change. So I thank everyone who has helped change our community, because it takes a group. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And as we begin to conclude, we have put your contact information on the screen there so people can reach out. Do you mind just going back quick? Thank you. So they can jot that down or capture that screenshot and reach out to you directly if they want to know more about one property at a time and the other efforts that you're doing. So we're getting comments in the chat section. So it's been a very valuable hour spent with you, Rex, and I've enjoyed getting to know you. So just to let you all know, go ahead and advance that, Howard. We want to hear from you about what you'd like to hear more about from us. We're always in search of stories. I just spent 2 days in South Dakota and came back with some great ideas and thoughts. And you're all out and about, and we want to hear stories that you're experiencing, like Blue Springs came to our attention through someone else. And so we are really glad that they did share that with us. So if there's a story that you'd like to hear featured on HomeNE, let us know. We'll do the research, we'll do the investigation, and then hopefully bring it to fruition here in the near future. So feedback is the breakfast of champions, as it says there on your screen. So, and then next month, our webinar will be on May 21st at 2 o'clock Central. So be looking for information about that webinar in the coming weeks. So, Rex, once again, I just want to say thank you to you and to your organization for believing in what you're capable of doing and for casting a bigger vision than you ever thought possible. So,
Thank you.
greatly appreciate it. So, yeah. Any last thoughts or comments here before we conclude for the day? Hearing none, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing all of you here next month. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. And we will send this link to this to you, Rex. Will that be okay?